I'm sorry I'm asking you all these
No, you're
philosophical,
fine.
religious.
You're fine. That's like my favorite topic to even talk about.
Oh, is it?
I mean, I love talking like spirituality, philosophy, anything like that. I read on that stuff all the time. Even when I'm bored, I just like open a book that
Yeah.
talks about religion or something.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. It's crazy because I love it. Like I love spirituality. I'm like in this Facebook spirituality group. There's a bunch of different kind of religions, I suppose, in this group. Um,
What is it called? Can you say?
yeah. Wait. Let me get the name exactly right.
Because I'm part of a few myself. There's
Sorry,
one
say that again.
specifically for gay men.
Oh yeah, this is something similar. It's called let me look, let me find it. Yeah, it's called Spiritual Gay Men. That's what it's called.
Yep, that's the same group I'm in.
You're in there?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. And are you under Dylan? Do you comment very often?
No, I don't ever really comment much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because well, I haven't
I'm a
commented.
reader.
Huh?
I'm more of a reader. I will comment every once in a while, but the times that I have commented, you know how you'll get the thread of all these responses and the notifications blow up. So I only comment if I'm something real passionate.
Yeah, yeah. Same actually. I haven't commented in a while because I haven't seen anything really. There was one um where a guy was freaked out. I don't know if you saw that post, but he was asking people for kind of like sh- um, wards, I guess, because he was had some like spiritual battle. I guess he felt um, his mind. I don't know. I don't, you know, and so he was asking people for assistance, um, and I just asked him like, what's going on, and so he private messaged me and told me, and then I asked my mom to pray for him, and I told him my mom swore that it was evil spirits, and I said I don't think it is. I think because I've experienced something like this, and it was not evil spirits. It is um, probably a neurodivergent kind of situation for him, because what happens in my head is that I have a lot of thoughts that just keep going, and sometimes if I'm like in a bad mood or whatever or something like that, the thoughts are already just really negative, and it is hard to get out of that just because it's just this sort of thing. So I asked my mom to pray for him, which she did, and I told him that he should I was like, just talk to God. And he was an ex-Christian because he said that, Christians were out for money and stuff like that, our pastors. And I was like, okay, but we're talking about God. Like, just forget Christianity. We're talking about God. Talk to God. And he was like, he didn't know how, which I found very fascinating. He was a Christian, but he didn't know how. In his opinion, he didn't know how to address God, like come to God. Speaking of which, do you because you were talking about being able to talk to the saints and stuff like that, like Mary and stuff like that. Do But I just found out recently that Catholics. I found out through a comedian, I think, was apparently that cat. Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not. So this is what I'm asking. But he said that, or she, I can't remember who, said that Catholics don't believe that, or they don't practice, I suppose. I don't know if they believe or not, but they don't practice going straight to God. They practice more going through the saints. Is that a thing, or do you feel like you can go straight to God?
From my understanding, and from really what I've been taught, you can go straight to God, but when it comes to Mary and the saints and the priest, you can go through them, and that just gives you extra assistance.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
If that makes sense, you get your prayer, and then whoever your intercessor you're using, you have their prayer too. So it's like two prayers going to God, but you can go directly.
okay. I see. I see. Okay.
My dad
So
has asked me that same question before.
you say it again.
He's asked me that question before.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you were ready for it. Okay.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Well, the more you know, I'm learning. Okay, that's good to know. But anyways, yeah, so that's what he did, and he ended up being okay, and then he added me as a friend on Facebook. So those are kind of the reasons why I'm in that group, is just to, I don't know, just talk to other like-minded people. Not like-minded, but just, well, spiritual-minded people, I should say. They can be different, but just spiritual-minded. So whatever. Also, I talk a lot, so if there's something that you wanted to
No, you're
like
fine.
throw in, because I can, oh wait, I closed my list, and this is also why I have a list, because since I talk so much, like I can
I
just
can
go
be a little
everywhere.
shy, so I'm glad you talk more.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not shy at all.
that's good. I'm jealous.
I'm not shy unless the person doesn't want to converse, and then I'm just like, okay, well,
Yeah.
then I've got nothing to say. Um, I have another question that I want to ask you. I think this is probably in reference to a video of yours that I saw. Um, do you have an idea of why you think religious people are narrow-minded? Because I believe you had mentioned something like that in one of your earlier videos. Do you think that religious people are narrow-minded, or can be, I suppose, more narrow-minded than, I suppose, your average person?
Yes, I mean, I think they are more than your average person. Um, and I'm just speaking on this from, I guess, from my family,
Yeah,
but like they're so religious that they want to just be around people that are their religion.
yeah, that's true.
And that keeps somebody around the same type of people in the same type of places. That's how it done, that's how it done them. And, therefore they don't really grow much as an individual. They just kind of stay in their little shell, and they think that's the whole world is that little shell, and they're so
Yeah,
wrong. But
yeah, okay. I kind of feel like, I mean, I agree. Um, I kind of feel like that's probably not a good thing. I don't, just because, like, I feel like I have this, and that this brings up another thing that to mind, that I was talking to a friend about, because, the thing that I'm trying to do with Kingdom Community is get out of the kind of the religious setting and get into this setting of just what people generally want in their hearts, to be loved, heard, to feel, accepted, and just free to be able to be who they are and do the things that they want to do, and help the people, that they want to help. And my friend, she lives in Florida, and she was telling me, she was like, yeah, she was reading I told her about what my like business structure and business plan is, and she was like, yeah, I kind of feel like that's the way the church is supposed to be, but it's kind of becoming, and we're mainly talking about our religion, um, or like our denomination, but it has become so kind of business oriented and closed minded, that the people that they're supposed to be helping, they refuse. Like they they no longer really know how to interact with them. And there are some churches that help feed the um, hungry and stuff like that, but I kind of feel like it's not this. I don't think I think that they're missing a beat. I feel like they're missing something. Um, and that's one of the sore spots that I have with them, is I kind of feel like they should be able to do more, but they kind of don't. Like, do you think, um, like so you've read about the early church in Acts, right? How they were just, you know, um, going out preaching and doing all these crazy cool things. But now you've seen the churches today. Do you think that they're missing something, or do you think it's not time for them to be able to be healing people? Or because where is it at? And I don't know if it's in Acts. Maybe it's in. Romans or something, where Paul, I'm pretty sure it was Paul who was talking about if one of you is sick, go to the elders and have them lay hands on them and you'll be healed or whatever. That doesn't happen now. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a epidemic? Like, not epidemic, but like, do you think it's supposed to? Like, why do you think that we can't do that now, like the churches?
I don't, I don't know that. I mean, we should be going out and helping people and talking to people. That's a no-brainer right there. But for some reason, I think it's just a lot of the way society is built today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think a lot of people are scared of offending somebody else too because of consequences and stuff.
Yeah.
And, religion, especially in the gay community, like religion has such a bad kind of rep that it's like you don't really want to push it on anybody or talk to anybody
Yeah.
about it. And so I think a lot of, there's many reasons, but I think those are the main ones that really keep it from kind of just going out, doing what the old church did.
Hold up. Let me do this because I didn't hear that last part real quick. Hold up. Okay. So can you repeat that again? Just the last part.
I said that keeps us from doing what the old church used to do by going out and, just getting stuff done and
Right. Okay.
spreading the word and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. So you think it's a lot of, if I understood, like, I hear some noise out here. This is why it's hard to. It's really hard to. But you said it's because you thought it maybe a lot of fear or some based on some sort of fear. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I think fear has a lot to do with it because I think people, especially in the gay community, I think a lot of them have a fear of religion, a fear of God, because it's maybe the way they grew up in a very Christian home like me.
Yeah.
And, so they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to hear it from anybody. And, I think that keeps people from wanting also to go out and tell others is because, people get really upset nowadays if you talk about something that they don't like.
Right. Okay.
And so that personally holds me back.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I do think that there's a lot of fear. I didn't think about that, but I do agree with you. I do think that there's a lot of fear um, in just the hearts of Christians, which is interesting because the Bible says that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of, was it love, of something in a sound mind, So it's kind of interesting that the church, it's quite possible that they're afraid. Um, and they kind of harbor this fear, and that kind of makes them um, maybe useless, I suppose. Not useless, obviously they're still doing some things, but like,
Oh yeah.
Largely unable to do the things that they were kind of, I suppose, commissioned. They feel commissioned that they are supposed to do. I Someone told me when I was still in the church, it was an elder, and he told me that he thought it wasn't time. And at first I held on to that for a little bit. I thought that maybe he was right but it just didn't sit right with me. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense because according to the Bible, it was always time. Like there was never a time. I mean, there were some like lags in between times because I suppose it wasn't like super, like there was nobody there, I suppose. But especially after Israel was formed, they had prophets and they had judges, until they just completely turned away from God. Then they had nothing else. And so sicknesses and all this other stuff ran rampant, and I kind of feel like that's what happened. Once Jesus left, the disciples were put to death and the apostles or the apostles were put to death and the rest of the disciples were scattered and the church stopped being what it was at the beginning, which is kind of infiltrated. I feel fear just kind of maybe infiltrated, and we just weren't able to. I'm not criticizing them. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I kind of feel like we should be able to do more. And then, then the question is, well, Nate, what are you doing? Well, I actually don't want to heal people. That is not what I want to do. The thing that I want to do is the thing I'm setting up now. That's the thing I desire, is to get people into an understanding of, you can do the thing that you desire to do. You do it with God. You will do it. I have a friend who I'm almost convinced, and I told him this. I was like, I am pretty sure if sought God, I don't know if he does or not, but he wasn't a Christian before, or he didn't know who God was before. But I was like, I'm pretty sure you would be able to heal people just by laying your hands on them. Just because of he's a nurse, and it's one of those things where he just feels drawn to do. And he's told me some stories about how he's laid his hands on people, and just talked to him. He didn't know what he was doing. He just did it, and then they felt better, right? They weren't healed, but they didn't need their medication. So I was just like, man, I'm sure that this is a thing, but like, I don't understand. Like, I don't
It's
understand
actually
what's going
around
on.
here in the South is a thing. Especially in the Pentecostal church where my grandfather was a preacher, they used to do laying of hands, and he used to tell me some wild stories about things that would happen
Yeah.
when people would heal. He broke his leg, he says, and he was healed by somebody laid the hands on him from a broke leg, and he got up and walked away and didn't need
Wow.
his crutches anymore when he was young. He's told that story for years, but he has
Jeez. Okay.
dementia now, so I don't know if he would even remember.
I mean, listen, but still, that I mean, I have a tendency to believe it unless it's proven otherwise.
So
Um, because I know things that have happened to me that people don't believe happen, but like I was there, and other people were there too. So there's like witnesses. Um, so I have a tendency to believe it, and so then I wonder, like, what's the difference? Like, I guess the difference is really just one of those things. Like back to the whole believing thing. It's got to be, you gotta know, you have to have a walk with God and just do the thing. And it comes. You keep asking God, and it comes. That's my opinion. That's what I think. I suppose.
I have a question I want to ask you though, because
Yes.
I like to ask people these. What do you think about not like Satanism or any, but just kind of paganism and your typical witchcraft? What do you think about all that?
I think in general, I think it's whatever. I don't have
Yeah,
a strong opinion on it. Because okay, this is the way I come at it is, there is nothing under the sun that was not created by God. There's nothing.
yes.
So I don't think that there is anything inherently evil with any of these things, right?
No, I
Um,
agree. I agree.
huh?
I agree. This is exactly what I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion. Now, what I do think, and the biggest issue in everything, that's what I think the biggest issue is the fact that people, you know, I think God is part of our community, right? And in the Bible, it says multiple times where how He wants to live amongst His people, you know, and the fact that we just keep omitting Him and trying to do things without Him, I find is an issue. I think is an issue, right? And so this is what I think is that when you're trying to do all of these things without God, like omitting God, anything that you do, regard like, you know, um, whether it's like Satanism or if it's like, Protestantism or anything like that, if you're doing that outside of the knowledge, or outside of God, like you are omitting God, or you have used something like the Bible to replace God, which I believe people have done. Um, it's going to, it's going to, it's going to be corrupted. at the end of the day. It's going to be corrupted. That's how I feel about it. So that's why I don't feel any particular way about it. Um, I know people are really kind of afraid. Like in my religion, people were really afraid of, and I was
Same
too,
here.
evil spirits and stuff like that. Until I realized, you know, I was like, but God, this is God is saying, why are you afraid? There's nothing that can, and I'm reading the story of Jesus where he's casting out demons, and he's not stressed about it. He's like, it's not it's not as big of a deal as you think it is, as long as you have God with you. So that's my opinion. I'm sorry it's pretty long, but like that's how I feel about it.
No, same here. Because I just the reason why I asked that is because growing up and being from here, and I also noticed that there's this other Christians too outside of my area. They're very quick to label something as evil.
Yes.
Very, very quick, whether it be witchcraft, whether it be Islam, atheist. Oh,
Yep.
they can't stand the atheist.
Yep.
And they're just very quick to label everything as evil. And I just don't think everything is that evil.
No. No. And that goes back to your point of like when you had said that you feel like all roads lead to God. That's why I agreed with it. I agree with it because this is God's earth. It doesn't
Oh,
make it.
yeah.
I feel like I remember growing up and hearing that there was. Do you know the Ellen G. White? Do you know who that is? She's a what
Mm-mm.
they so Seventh Day Adventist. They have this prophetess, um, and her name is Ellen G. White, and she wrote in one of her books that God's angels cannot go into will or cannot go into a bar like an alcoholic establishment. And so we grew up learning this, and like there are places where angels won't accompany you. And at first, I was like, okay, but then I was thinking about it. I was like, that doesn't. How is it that God can create the entire earth and then humans can create somewhere where God can't enter? Like, I don't see how that makes any sense.
It
Sort of
doesn't
thing.
make sense to
Now,
me either.
now I believe I understand what she was talking about. Um, And so, and if that's what she was saying, then it makes a little more sense. It's not that he can't go in or that he won't go in, but it's really a situation of like,
Yeah, let me let you through. I'm sorry. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
oh, so
Yeah, go ahead.
it's really a situation of like, I don't know, I don't want to go into that, but I just felt like it didn't make any sense that they felt like humans could create an area where God couldn't enter, and I don't think that that is the case at all. I really think that God is just like, he'll go wherever he needs to go to do whatever it is that he needs to do. This is his world. We are just squirrels trying to get a nut. Like,
No, that is true. No, I've never thought about that because, my people in my area, they look at alcohol as, and, going to bars and anything like that as being very sinful and somewhere, God does not ever want you to be and you
yeah,
will be punished. But I used to sit and think to myself, how can, it's something God made us and then we make something, but it's almost like it's more powerful than him to where he can't
yeah,
go there. Does
yeah,
that, no, I get it.
yeah. No, that yeah, yeah. And my religions, they did the same. They shame. They were shaming Jehovah's Witness. They were shaming yeah, Islam. They anybody who was not Adventist was, because they also believe that they're the remnant church that's mentioned in Revelation, and so anybody who was not that religion, Baptist. My grandma was Baptist too. Um, she was nicer than a lot of Adventists. So it's
No,
not
I
saying the Adventists
understand.
are bad. I'm just saying, it's really for me. I learned it's the person. It is not the religion, sort of thing. But yeah, yeah, they did the same thing. So I totally feel you.
Actually, I've never been to it. One of the, is it Adventist? Is that what you said? Seventh day?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been to like a service in one of those churches. I know a girl that used to go to the one we had in town. But I don't think I've ever been. I was always curious though. Like I would still go just to see.
It's
I'm not against it.
the hopefully the ones near you are cool because they can be staunch. They're very very strict.
Yeah.
Most of them are vegetarian. Maybe in the South, not so much, but the the way it's set up is they're vegetarian. They don't smoke. They don't drink alcohol. They they just have a lot of rules, a lot of rules. Um, but they are again. It really depends on the the group. It really depends on the people there, um,
What are
because
they vegetarian for?
it's the laws of health. I think it's what they call it, or what's it called? The health message is what they call it. The health message. So they teach that eating kind of meat and stuff like that is kind of destroys the body or whatever. So they have, they're also if you go to extreme, have you ever heard of Loma Linda, California?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, it's a city in California, and it's a pretty good place to have. It's a pretty good place. They have it's like a huge hospital type of city, right? So it's a very good place if you're feeling unwell, like I have a chronic illness or something, to go there and kind of get it figured out. But it's known as kind of the Adventist city, right? So almost everything there is kind of based around Adventism. Everything closes at, or used to, I don't know what it does now, but it used to close at Friday evening and open on, Friday evening to Saturday evening. That's when they keep the Sabbath and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's not a huge religion, but you know, whatever. And they made their own foods. Like I think Worthington is their own, which is a vegetarian like meat substitute and whatever. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's an interesting community, but they get very into they can get very into their own rules and stuff like that, where it just becomes suffocating. So pros and cons.
Well, I never knew that, but I always have thought, though, since I really became more spiritual than religious, I definitely find a bigger importance on, I think we do need to take care of, like, the world, the planet, the animals around us.
Yeah,
To whereas before I was spiritual and religious, for some reason I didn't care about any of that. I thought that we were above everything, above animals, above nature. We
right.
just I used to just not have much of respect for
Yeah, well, we are all one, so
it. Oh yeah.
we have the ability to take care of it, so we probably should. Listen, I know you have to go, and we're going to wrap up here. Thank you, Dylan, for joining us.
Thank you.
That was fun. That was fun for me.
That was
I hope you
good.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
Um,
did.
this video will probably up either later today. Oh no, because I do have to do some edit. Probably later today, maybe tomorrow. We'll
Okay.
see what happens. Whatever. Um, but it was very very fun. And so for our listeners out there, again, if you want to be part of the uh, the audience members, you just go to our Discord and sign up. It's a $5 a month fee, but it gives you the opportunity to like join in on the discussion, comments live, or but also to contribute to the projects that Kingdom Community, sorry, is doing. So we're going to say bye. Everyone say bye, Dylan.
Bye guys. Thank you.
And I'll talk to you all later. Ciao.